everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing great. So in today's video I thought it would be fun to do a half and half makeup challenge. So what I mean by that is I'm going to be doing half my face using my most expensive products and half my face using my cheapest products. And at the end we can figure out which one looks better. I don't know which one's gonna look better. I went through my entire makeup collection and sat down and tried to figure out actually which is the most expensive and which is the cheapest. So I definitely know which ones are the most expensive, but the cheapest, the only one that I'm like a little bit iffy on maybe is the lipstick, because I had a couple cheap lipstick ones. So I guess we'll just hope this is like basically the cheapest. So I thought it'd be fun to do this type of video because there's so many products on the market nowadays, and I wanted to know if it was actually worth it to spend the extra money on products, or if the cheaper versions are basically just as good, if not better. So that being said, let's get started. So I'm going to be starting with my eyebrows today because I'm using products that I know that I mess up with all the time. Every single time I mess up with it. So this side will do cheap, this side will do expensive. Hopefully I can remember that. Hopefully. So for the cheaper side today for brows, I'm going to be using this PS brow pencil, which is $3, and then this Aeroposa brow mascara, which was $1.25 from the dollar store. And then for my more expensive side, I'm going to be using this MAC brow product. Now they don't have this exact one anymore, but they have one that's pretty similar, and that was $30 on the MAC website. And this 24-hour brow setter from Benefit, which is $32. So a pretty dramatic price difference between the two of them. I'm no good at using brow pencils, and this one specifically is not very good. It's very creamy and it just kind of slides everywhere, so that's why I'm doing them first. So I find, especially when I run the spoolie through, it kind of all just goes everywhere, and I have to clean it up with a Q-tip after. So that's why I'm doing it before my foundation. And the brow mascara. The thing about this stuff is that it's super pigmented, so it'd actually probably be pretty good if you just needed to add a little bit of fluff to your brows, but you already had super full fluffy brows. This stuff would actually probably be pretty good. Okay, so using my MAC Duo now, I'm just going to go in with this darker brown shade and run it through my brows with an angle brush. I used to love using powders for my eyebrows. I'd use powders and like a brow wax. And this is just a clear brow gel, so it's just going to kind of set everything in place, which is also really nice after you use a powder. What do you think? Which one wins? I guess this one. Okay, the more expensive one won on this side, but just because this brow pencil, it's trash. I hate it actually. So for eyeshadow primers, I have the Milani eyeshadow primer, which costs $12.49. Still not super cheap. And I have the Too Faced Shadow Insurance primer out for the other side, which is $29. These two basically just feel the same, so I wonder if they're dupes for each other. Because that would be interesting, because the Milani one's literally like half the price. Less than half the price. For eyeshadow, for the cheapest side, I've got the e.l.f. bite-sized eyeshadow palette. This is $4, and I think it's perfect. It's got 2 mattes, 2 shimmers. You can create a super easy eye look out of this. So that's for the cheaper side. And for the more expensive side, I've got the $60 Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. You can't even buy it anymore. They discontinued it. Anyway, so I've got this one. So out of the two, I think I'm gonna like this one better because this one already gives me trouble, but it's so beautiful. And my sister bought it for me. So I think that I can get a very similar eye look out of the two of them, because a lot of these colors I can find in here. So I'm gonna make it work. So I'm gonna start with the e.l.f. one. Oh my god, it's so little. Look at it in comparison to my hand. It's literally the size of my palm. This would be perfect for traveling. Okay, so going in with my Morphe M505 brush, I'm gonna tap into that lightest shade and just use it in my crease. Oh, that's the wrong eye. Okay, maybe this won't work because it isn't showing up on my skin even at all. I'm going to go in with my Morphe M330 brush and kind of tap between the two to try and lighten this one up. So I'm just going to like tap a little and tap back into that one. And then I'm just going to try and blend it in the crease. So now using that same 330 brush, I'm just going to go into the dark brown and try and deepen up the outer corner. Just using patting motions to pack the color on, and then I'll go in and blend it. It's not getting as dark as I wish it would, which is kind of annoying because I know that the ABH one is very dark. So next I'm gonna go in with this shimmer here on my finger. Ooh, it's super soft. Oh, it's super gold. And just put it right all over my lid. And using my Sonia Kashuk small eyeshadow brush, I'm gonna go into the lighter shade. I'm gonna put that on my inner corner and kind of on the inner portion of the lid. Just blend it a little bit into the gold. Okay, so that is that for that side. I didn't have much other choice. I think it turned out pretty nice. The colors weren't as pigmented, like the matte shades weren't quite as pigmented as I wanted them to be, but still overall, it's really nice and I liked it. So now moving into the ABH palette. The similar colors I have here are Dawn, Fudge, Adorn, and then probably this one here, which is Cube. So I'm just gonna go in with those colors in the same order that I did with the other one. They don't layer very nicely. Okay, and I am using my Vermona color switch in between the two palettes just to make sure that all the products off so that it is actually comparable, like side by side. Dipping into the Fudge shade, I just grabbed a tiny bit. And I'm just gonna blend that. The thing with this palette is just to build very slowly. Okay, now going in with the Adorn shade. It is a little bit darker than this side, but I think it's okay. Maybe I'll mix Cube with a little bit of Electric to try and add a little bit of the gold factor in that the e.l.f. one has. Maybe that'll be a good idea. It wasn't a good idea. Okay, take two. Just using Cube this time. Okay, this is the only part that's not comparable. This one's super pink, the other one's super gold, but it's fine. Okay, so there's the two sides of eyeshadow done. I like them both, actually. I think that they performed both pretty well. Like, for level of ease, the e.l.f. one is definitely easier because this one has taken me a couple years to actually learn how to blend. So I would say for easiness, this one's easier. Plus I kind of like how the overall look turned out. I wish this inner shade was like a little more gold, a little less white, but overall I think it turned out pretty good. I don't really have a winner for those. Okay, so moving on to eyeliner, I have the Essence Super Precise Eyeliner, which is $3.99, and I have the Physicians Formula Eye Booster in black. They're both in black, and it is $15.99. I like this one better. I already know. I'm sure I would like this one, but it turns out gray, which isn't really for me. So, plus I kind of like the brush tip. I know a lot of people like felt tips or something like that, but I just like how it's a brush. I don't know why. My sister says I'm crazy, but I just think that it's way better. And I'm not gonna do a wing or anything. I'm just gonna kind of line the top. And then my Physicians Formula one. These are both drugstore, which is nice. Yeah, see, I just have more trouble trying to get like a straight line. I mean, as I said, I already like this one better. It's blacker, it stays on really well. I'm sure this one stays on really well too, but this one is just like my preferred. What should we do next? Okay, so I feel like the face products are the things that are like the widest price gap. So on this side I've got the Essence Fresh Fit and Awake Primer, and on this side I've got the Becca First Light Priming Filter. This one is $5.95 and this one is $51. So that's a pretty big price difference. The good thing for this challenge is that they both kind of have the same finish, which is really nice. So I'm trying to, like, if you couldn't tell by the eyes, I'm trying to achieve the same look on both halves of my face using like completely different products. And some of these I do only have like sample sizes of, so I just went with whatever the full price version was. When it comes to primer, I do prefer the Fresh Fit and Awake one, just because I find that the priming filter kind of leaves like a purple hue on my skin, and sometimes I just like to wear primer on its own, especially like a glowy one like this. I just like to wear it on its own because it makes my skin look a little healthier, a little more alive. Okay, so another big price difference for foundation. I've got my PS My Perfect Color Color Stick, which is $4.29. Then on the other side, I've got my Clarins BB Skin Detox Fluid, which is $47. So pretty big difference between the two. I'm just gonna kind of So I just blended that out with my Sephora brush, but I'm just going to go back in with a little bit more to try and build up the coverage a bit. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side with my Clarins. I'm just going to pump a little bit out on my finger. Now I do love this stuff. I mean, the shades definitely don't match. I hope that translates on camera. So between these two, I definitely prefer this one. I just think that it looks so beautiful and skin-like on your face, and I love the way it wears. It lasts a really long time. This one I think is worth the money. Okay, so for concealer, for the cheaper side, I have my Wet n Wild Photofocus concealer, which comes in at $5.97. And then for the more expensive side, I have the Nars Creamy Radiant Concealer, which is $39. Great. Some things, like, I just don't understand how it could possibly be so expensive. I probably shouldn't have put that much concealer there because I don't even think I have that much of the Nars one because it's running out. Oh, actually. Oh, I got quite a bit of that. Like, I don't know. It's the Radiant Creamy Concealer, but I don't find it very radiant. I mean, it is pretty creamy, but it's kind of drying. Like, I prefer the Photofocus one because that one, it doesn't look dry on my skin. This side looks way more dry. So I would say this one wins. Cheap for the best. Cheap for the win. Okay, so I'm gonna do highlighter first next because one of them is a cream highlighter and then I'll go on to setting powders. So this one is the most ridiculous price gap between the two. Like, the most ridiculous price gap, and in no world am I telling you to spend this on it. I didn't spend it on it. My friend gave it to me. Shout out Casey. Like, there's so many good drugstore highlights that you can buy that you don't need to buy this. But for the cheap side, I have the Aeroposa highlighting powder that I bought from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. And on the other side, I've got the Guerlain Liquid Pearls for $69. I haven't even used it yet, but it looks beautiful on the back of my hand, so we're gonna do it today. Two different colors too. This one's like super white and icy, and the Guerlain one is like kind of pinky. I think that this Aeroposa one is nice, but I don't like the color of it. Like, I wish I'd got a more champagne color or a more pink color, but I mean, it's the Dollar Tree and you get what you get, kind of, and you don't get upset. So, and then this one, it's got like a little spongy tip that you wind up. So I'm gonna try just putting it here, and I'm just gonna blend it out with the tip of my sponge. I never have good luck with highlighters, like liquid highlighters. I'm just gonna take some on my finger and tap it on. That, dare I say, might be worth the money. I mean, it's not. It's $70. It's not worth the money, but it's beautiful. It blended in so nicely to my skin. It didn't take off any foundation underneath. It's like a lit from within, glowy kind of angel. Wins. Wins, hands down. Wins. So for setting my under eyes, I've got the Coty Airspun powder, which rings in at about $7 Canadian. And for the expensive side, I've got the Laura Mercier, oh my god, why can't I speak? I've got the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder. Loose Translucent Setting Powder, that's hard to say. And this one rings in at $51. I've got my cheat sheet here. That's what I keep looking at, cheat sheet. $51 versus $7. So, yeah. So this is the Coty powder. Just tapping out any creases that I have. Let's hope this doesn't make this eye look even more creasy. And I'm interested to see what it does to the highlighter, because sometimes powders over top of the liquid highlighters kind of ruin them and make them all splotchy. Of course this one didn't, because it's perfect. They're both fine. I don't really love either of them. Like I said, I don't like setting powder very much. I've said it a couple times. I just don't care for it. It doesn't do it for me. Everything looks so dry all the time, and I already have pretty creasy under eyes, so just putting it on makes it worse. So moving on to bronzer, I've got the e.l.f. Cream Contour Palette, which is $8 from Shoppers. And then I've got the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. This is just like a palette that I have it in, but the product itself is $42. So a pretty big price difference again. If you like, this e.l.f. product comes with 4 things, so if you break it down, it's $2 per tin. So that's like $2 versus $42. It's something, that's for sure. So going in on this side first, I'm just gonna tap into this shade down here with my brush, and I just kind of like to load it up and hope for the best. The best never comes. Also, I put so much on because I completely forgot I was only doing half my face. What have I done? Oh my god, okay. Okay, going back, I'm gonna blend it with my sponge now. I'm such an idiot. But it does kind of blend everywhere. So if you are a kind of person that likes like a very concentrated bronzer, like you want it to look defined, I haven't been able to make this do that for me. Using my Real Techniques brush, I'm gonna go in with my Chocolate Soleil bronzer. Out of the two, I like this one better, but that might also have to do with the fact that I like powder products, like not powder products, but specifically powder bronzers. Like, I'm not a big fan of the cream bronzers. I bought this because I wanted to try it in the summer. I still like it, like I do like it quite a bit, but between the two, I'll always pick a powder bronzer and a powder highlight. Not so much a powder blush though. Blush, I can get behind a cream for. Okay, so I've got a cream blush for the cheap side. It is the Wet n Wild Makeup Stick Blush, and it is $6.29. And I've got the Bare Minerals Loose Blush, and this one is $28. I love both of them. This one's super, super sparkly though, so that's gonna be funny to watch. So I'm just gonna use this e.l.f. airbrush stipple brush. And now for the Bare Minerals blush. It's more like a blush topper, I think. Like, it's so sparkly. Okay, I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and just tap it into the Danielle blush brush, into the cap. This is one of my favorite blushes. I think it's so beautiful. Okay, no, so this is one of like the biggest shade differences is these two. Like, my cheapest liner is this Essence Extreme Lasting eye pencil in the shade Silky Nude, which is $3.99. And then my most expensive is this purple eyeliner from Urban Decay, the 24/7 Glide On eye pencil in the shade Rockstar. So I'm just gonna run those on my lower lash line, and we're just gonna pretend that it didn't happen. Completely changed the eyes now, which is pretty funny. So I'm just gonna go back in with the darkest brown shades of both palettes and kind of run it along the lower lash line now. Between the two of those products, I feel like they're pretty comparable. Like, this one's a little bit of a drier formula, but it does stay on pretty well. And then this side, it's just very creamy. But again, it stays on pretty well. So truthfully, I guess I'd just say go for the cheaper one because it's cheaper. It's like 50 times cheaper. So for mascara, it's funny because these two give a pretty similar effect. They're both very lengthening, not super voluminous. So I've got the Maybelline Great Lash Mascara, and that is $4.69. And then I've got the Benefit Bad Gal Bang Mascara, which is $33. So pretty big difference in price. Mascara is one of those things that I just firmly believe that you can get a great mascara for a cheap price. This one did give a little bit more volume and a little bit more length. So I guess between the two of them, I do prefer this one. However, this one also isn't as dried out as the other one. So that could be playing a factor, but just off of how they look right now, I would say the more expensive one was better. Okay, so for lipstick, I don't know if these two are really gonna look the same on the lips. I truly don't know, but I've got the Wet n Wild Liquid Cat Suit, and this one comes to $7.47. And then I've got the Bite Beauty like Lip Lab. My sisters took me there a couple years ago for my birthday to make your own lipstick, and it was super fun, but it definitely was the most expensive lipstick that I had, and one is $60. So that's pretty expensive. So comparable is these two. Okay, so that is the end of all the makeup. Tell me down below right now, before I tell you how much both sides cost, tell me down below which side you like better. Do you like the cheaper side better or the more expensive side better? Okay, so the cheaper side, which I think we liked more products from. I'm gonna say for sure liked more products from. $78.97. That's not bad for a full face of makeup. Full face. It looks pretty good. I mean, it looks very... I wouldn't have anything to complain, except the eyebrow. I hate the eyebrow. I wouldn't have any complaints about wearing this out. The more expensive side? Take your guesses without calculating everything. Take your guesses down below. $616.04. Do you think it's worth $616 to look like this compared to this? Because I don't. I don't. There were some products that I think are beautiful and I would buy again, but overall, this is why I'm such a big proponent of like buying drugstore makeup. Let me check like what things did I think are worth it to buy high end. I love this blush. The Bare Minerals loose blushes are astoundingly beautiful. I never think it's worth high end to buy mascara. I sometimes think it's worth high end to buy eyeshadow because I hate patchy eyeshadows. This Clarins BB cream I absolutely love. It is my favorite BB cream that I've ever found. I think it lays beautifully on the skin. Oh, this brow setter is great. If you're looking for a clear brow gel, this one's great. It keeps everything in place. So I think these are the three. Oh, and the lipstick. It's such a fun experience, and like that's what you're paying such a big ticket for, because I don't think that Bite lipsticks are normally that expensive, but it's so fun to do, and you get to add your own like fragrance and obviously your own shade and taste and formula. So I do really think that this was fun to do. So out of all that, this is what I think is worth it. And even still, oh, and this is beautiful. Beautiful. But don't buy it. There's other things you can buy. I just think it's beautiful and I'm so happy that I have it. Thank you, Casey. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I had so much fun trying to figure it out. It wasn't so much fun trying to figure out what products were the cheapest in my collection. That took quite a while, but overall doing it was really fun. If you did like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below. You can also hit the subscribe button if you want to see a new video here every single Sunday, and hit the post notification bell if you want to be notified whenever I upload in the future. I hope you guys are all having a really great day, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye!